Hi, I'm Panda Hershey with Your Full Expression. Welcome to the February 2nd Coffee and Charts call. On this call, I talk about how busy we're going to be over the next 3 months once Mercury stations direct tomorrow. And part of that busyness is going to be some intense time from now until about March 7th, when Venus and Mars come together and stay within about 1 degree of each other in Capricorn and Aquarius. I talk about how to get ready for that. And we'll watch the daily planet movement for the next 2 weeks. And during that time, I show you when you might want to pay attention to what you're doing, because you may be able to feel some boundary being set for you for this year. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side. We'll just dive right in. Okay, so before we look at the upcoming energy, I wanted to remind you that Venus just stationed direct. So it's not too late to write in your journals about what you've been affirmed, and you're ready to move forward on what it is, the work over the year that you know you have ahead of you. And then tomorrow, Mercury stations direct. So you may feel it already, that there are just a bunch of things in your head or that are being spoken that are all about the same thing. Good morning, Jessica. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
And so if you're new to the call, one of the things that you can do is turn to pages 4 and 5 in your guide. On here, this is a review, but I think it's always helpful that these are, this is your natal chart that you have in your book. This is my natal chart here on the screen. And the portals that are happening this year are all shown as arcs around the circle, with the blue ones being the Venus, Mercury, or Mars retrogrades that we're experiencing this year. And the ones in red are the outer planets, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, Chiron, and Uranus. And for each of these retrograde portals, there are pages for these with journal questions that you can turn to. If you just flip like the next page, you'll see the Venus retrograde portal, and there's a little description of it and then questions. And so we'll get to some of the questions later, but this is how you find the like the prompts to start writing and thinking about how this is showing up in your life. Okay, so it's not too late to see how that accumulated work of your lifetime is giving you this question. How are you going to pull it all together? Because that Pluto portal is your work for the whole year. Some opportunity has come since November of last year, and the Mercury retrograde came in to like take that opportunity to have you think forward. What am I going to do with this? Maybe you've had some like surprises thrown at you and that you would never thought of. Oh, this is where this goes from here. And that Pluto pulls it all together to some work that is just, you'll never work harder in your life in some ways. Because this transit, as far as I can tell, has not happened like this. It is going to be extremely intense this year. And in order to do this work over the year, we'll find that there are going to be some adjustments in our lives. We're going to have to let go of some things. We simply won't have the capacity to do everything that used to be so important to us. And we're going to be touching this Saturn portal a little bit in the next couple of weeks. And we'll start to see, get that idea of what it is that just, we won't have time for, won't have the energy for anymore. And we're also going to have some growth and some disruption in some part of our lives. And we will talk about that as they come on, but really from now until May, we'll start to see all of that coming together. So one more thing, Mercury stations direct tomorrow. Once that happens, from now until the end of April, everything moves forward. There are no more retrogrades. And so what does that feel like? if you have ever gone to the beach or like a park with a dog in a leash in one hand and a little kid on the other hand that sees the playground structure or whatever you're going to do, and they're pulling you forward and there is nothing you can do except go along with it, that is the energy that we will feel for the next, February, March, April, 3 months. So it will be a lot of motion, movement going forward. There's no stopping it. And one thing to just be aware of is space for self-care for yourself. There won't be a lot of time to reflect on things. Everything will just be moving forward. Okay, so let's take a look at the planet movements. Okay, and I'm going to just see who's here. Okay. All right, we're going to start with January 28th. That was last Friday when Mercury was retrograding back over Pluto through that portal of 26 to 28.5 degrees Pluto. And so if you can remember what you were talking about that day, either about, I know this is what I have to do, or something came in that added to your list of things you're going to have to do this year that came onto your plate, good time to make a note of that, even just who you were talking to, maybe over even the weekend or Thursday. And it's going to come back to you in a little over a week. Venus station direct on Saturday. And here we are today. Just a reminder, the sun here is in yellow. The moon here is in blue. Tomorrow, Mercury stations direct at 24 degrees Capricorn. And now it will start to slowly move forward in this direction, in the counterclockwise direction. On the 4th, the sun will cross over Saturn at 16 degrees Aquarius. And that is a day where you may be creating a boundary for yourself in some way, or someone may be creating a boundary for you where that has never shown up before. It will be, it's Aquarius, I always think of as the suggestion box. So things are going a certain way and like you ask for people's feedback, what can we do to be better or, improve on what we've got? And people throw their suggestions in. So this may be a time that you've got this idea of, you know what, I got to like carve this out for myself, or someone's going to carve it out for you and say, let's not do this anymore, or we're going to focus on this little area. But it's a taste of what is to come to be released this year, because 2 days later, 3 days later, Sun goes into that portal where Saturn will be for much of the year between 18.5 to 25 degrees Aquarius. And for that week, it's good to pay attention to what you're doing. Where is some boundary being set for you, or you are setting that is your idea that just needs to happen? What might seem like too much in your life? And you think, oh, after doing this has got to go. I can't do this anymore. And so on February 10th, Mercury passes back over Pluto. So now it goes back to what were you talking about? What were you thinking about back last Friday or so? And I think one thing to think about is that this is also going on for people around you. So if you're thinking, this is what I have to do, and I need to tell people this is what I'm planning to do, it's important to know what the people around you are thinking, right? Might be a good time to get feedback. That project we've been talking about, or your plans for the year, what are you thinking now? What is that kind of fully formed thing looking like for you? How has it changed? Are you ready for it? How can I support you? That kind of thing. So it's, 3 days or so, and it's in the journal, and we'll get there to the questions to think about. So on the 13th, the sun finishes going through that Saturn portal at 25 degrees. And then in 2 weeks from today, when we meet again, Mars has caught up and will pass Venus in Capricorn. So that's what I would love for you guys to watch when we go back and do it again. Okay. Okay. Any questions before I run through it one more time? No. Okay. Here we go. So here's Mars at 3 degrees Capricorn, Venus at 11 degrees Capricorn, and just watch this red catch up to the pink, and then it'll pass. Okay, here we go. Okay, you see that squeezing together? That is some energy that we're going to need to prepare for, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But first, let's just go through some of the questions for journaling. Either if you don't have time this week, this is just a good time to make a couple notes, even right now or for 5 minutes after the call. In this Venus retrograde portal, we just had that Venus stationing direct. It's not too late to go in and if you're new to the journal, you figure out what part of my life is this actually happening in, and you see the blue arc against your chart. You look down to the numbers inside the pie slices. For me, it's 9 and 10. So I turn to the pages 9 and 10, and that's where I start answering my questions. And the additional question here that really is going to last from now until early March is, what either resistance or urgency am I feeling in what I'm supposed to be doing? Who is either challenging my expertise? What am I able to do with it? And that is going to be kind of your dominant, like in your heart, really, for a little while. And again, the slides will be back up in the video later. The Mercury retrograde portal on the next page. Mercury stations direct tomorrow, and it passes through the portal over, it's 10 degrees for 5 days, basically. And so, anytime now is a good time to be thinking about these questions. And then on February 10th, as we saw, Mercury passes back over that Pluto portal, and over Pluto in particular. How am I speaking to what I can do and how I'm going to do it? Is there a connection to what happened last Thursday, Friday, Saturday? What support can I feel around me? This is a good thing to know, like who's with you, who can give you a little boost. You may need it a little later. What do the people around me think they're going to be doing this year? Is everybody on the same page? Are we all talking off the same, game plan, singing off the same song sheet, that kind of thing? Okay, and now if you're in your journal, you skip way ahead to the Pluto retrograde portal. And this is where Pluto connects the Venus and Mercury retrogrades. And in the questions there, this February 9th to the 13th is really the same in some ways as the, oh, no, actually, I'm sorry. It's what we talked about before from January 27th to 29th, when Venus came backward over Pluto, and now it goes forward over Pluto. And in this range, it's through the whole portal. What is clear in my mind about what I'm going to do and who am I telling, right? Who am I speaking that truth to? And then finally, I mentioned that the sun goes through the Saturn portal during this next 2 weeks. I've got it listed here, February 7th to the 14th, and the corresponding questions on the next page. What am I intentionally doing that is, kind of pushing the edge of the envelope, like setting a boundary that I've never set before? Or is there a boundary being set on me? Is everything that I'm doing feeling necessary? You may just be too overwhelmed and say, this I can't do anymore. This is part of our Great Resignation. And, what are the basic needs I have in this area of my life? And the little hint of that is February 4th. You can maybe see it in the people around you. There may be a boundary set on you or in someone around you. What innovative structure is maybe taking shape? Can I kind of feel some pressure in my life, in this part of my life? And can I see maybe over the next year that it could get relieved in some way by letting go of something? That's something we'll just explore. Okay. So, want to see if there are any questions. Did anyone watch the Daily Planets video? One of the questions I had was whether the ticking through, the pace at which they're shown is too fast or too slow, or baby bear just right.
I ended up putting it down to half speed because otherwise it was that the notes were flashing up too fast for me to be able to comprehend them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can slow that down.
But it's an option that anyone can do as well. So.
Okay. I actually don't think I know how to do that.
3 buttons at the top. 3 dots at the top, rather.
Okay. All right. I'll have to remember that. That great. Thanks, Min. I'll consider changing it. I actually have to fix some slides on the video. And so I will experiment with slowing it down a little bit. Okay. All right. So this Venus-Mars conjunction coming up. We saw that on February 16th, Mars catches up to Venus. And let's just start with, what are those energies again? So Venus is about receiving and affirming. That natal Venus in us is about what we most easily are open to, what we are most easily able to take into ourselves. And it's affirming. When you have Mars is almost the opposite. It's putting that energy out. It is taking a stand for something. It's putting your heart into something. It takes a lot of energy to push out there in some way. And when you take it all in Capricorn, and Capricorn of applying our tools and our wisdom and our experience to impact our community, it is Venus in Capricorn being appreciated, right, for what you do. We've been exploring this since mid-November. This Mars energy is like taking a stand. Yes, this is what I do. So back on February 2nd, today, Venus at 11.5, a little deeper energy. It's ahead, right? Because it's forward of Mars at 7 degrees Capricorn. What does that feel like? So I've been trying to think of examples. Think of a firefighter who gets called for a fire and they show up, you're the right guy, and your team is there to put it out. But it's a windy day. And so right now it's kind of calm, you're putting it out, you see how big it is. Okay, this is our strategy, this is what we're doing. And then the wind starts picking up, right? You have to pick up the pace. There is urgency. There is a need to get on it and like tackle every flare up that comes up. And so by the time February 16th comes around, like, oh my God, you're still the right guys. We need you. But now the wind has really picked up and every spot fire is happening so quickly and you've got to get to each one with no time to spare. Does that kind of example make sense to you? where you know that you can do this, and you, with Mars behind you, you know, if it's a slow breeze or it's not so urgent, you can kind of not take your time, but really just sort of flow with that. But as Mars catches up, it pushes you to work harder for some reason. And it can be a person, it can be external circumstances. It may be you just saying, I know I can do this, and I'm going to push as hard as I can. So that's sort of what the next 2 weeks will feel like as Mars is catching up. So I call this Venus being just ahead of Mars. Feels like the door is open to do the work I'm supposed to be doing. But there's maybe some rumblings behind you that you can almost hear, maybe second thoughts from someone, and it feels like it's getting louder, like in the background. And so by the time it catches up, it will be like the door is open, but there's this urgency of you've got to push harder. And when Mars then passes ahead of Venus, like the door is open behind me, and I'm pushing hard to keep going to do the work that I can do. So it's almost as if, going back to the firefighter example, that there's a spot fire, you're on it. There's a spot fire, you're on it. It never races so far ahead that you've lost the battle. But you can absolutely see that you've got to be doing the best you can, the hardest you can, until the very edge. Because as we know, 17 degrees is kind of in the middle, kind of our day-to-day life, but it will go all the way to 29 degrees Capricorn, and then push over into Aquarius before Venus finally passes Mars. So they stay within 1 degree of each other, but boy, it's going to be intense. And it may feel like this major test you're going through to see, can you do it? Can you make it all the way through? And it may feel like you are running for your life in some ways, because it touches that deepest part of us by the time we get to the end. So what to think about? So if you are being pushed in that way, there might be, from February 7th to the 14th, like you can see it coming. So it's almost like, I just can't do everything. I used to love to, I'll just say, get on my Peloton, and I don't have a Peloton, but that's the thing, and work out for an hour, go on a 3-hour hike every day. And I actually used to do that, but I can't do that anymore, right? I have to have more space to do the work I'm being called to do. So just notice, oh gosh, I just can't maintain this anymore. What is happening from the 7th to the 14th? And on that February 10th, when Mercury crosses over Pluto, what do I realize about this work that I have ahead of me that I just couldn't have known before now? You'll start feeling it. What is it that I need to think about and just say, put it on my list of things of the work that I have ahead, and push that forward and let people know. So those are some things to think about during this time as you realize what this year is going to be for you. Okay. And I think that is the end of the slides. And I just want to see, oh my God, I'm over time. Anyway, questions?
Just going to say, it sounds like Peloton's not the way to go right now. And then the other observation would be, we're all going through that intensity at the same time. Okay.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd clarify.
You can see it in the world, right? You can absolutely see people being taken to the brink. And now that you know, create space for yourself, gather your resources, gather your team together, get everyone on the same page, support each other. When you have those blank spots, rest. Those are good times to know, like, just take a break for a moment. I can't do anything anyway. And take a nap. but take care of yourselves and just be there for each other. Nope.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
It was a
It
lot.
is a lot.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it coming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So take good care of yourselves. And I'm always here. You feel free to text, whatever, as you experience it. Make little notes to yourself to remind you that you're doing the best you can. And that of the progress you've made, right? So much has happened since November. And you've done a lot already. So just hang in there and keep going. And, you know, we're in this web and we hold each other's hands. And this, I like to think of us as this huge spider web where each node is a person. And if everyone else around your little node can just hold steady, you get to bounce and like do your little dance and work with the energy as hard as it is, but the people around you can steady you. And then we hold that for each other. And that's how we make it through.
We're going to have to.
Right?
Just
Whether
kidding.
we like it or not.
That's right. All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
I hope you feel prepared for some intense times ahead, but also have some clarity about the work you have this year. Be sure to use that time around February 10th to share your intentions with the people around you and let those people share their intentions with you. We're all in this together. If you'd like to join us for coffee and charts on the first and third Wednesdays of the month, please visit my website at yourfullexpression.com to learn more. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you soon.